This was one of the most unhinged Karens on a Dr. Phil episode. I don't think she even noticed the crowd was not on her side. And as fun as this type of people can be, this was heartbreaking because her unstable behavior bled all over her marriage and her children. And of course she doesn't see it. She has done nothing wrong. Nothing is her fault. It's the evil ex-husband that poisoned her kids against her. As Dave Mustaine once said,
hindsight is always 20/20.
As in every video, the links are going to be in the description so you can check them out, unadulterated by my opinion. And don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like, it really helps. Sarah is a mother of 3. One day, her husband asked for a divorce and her kids started being disrespectful to her. She claims this was a perfect example of parental alienation. According to Psychology Today, parental alienation occurs when a child refuses to have a relationship with a parent due to manipulation, such as the conveying of exaggerated or false information by the other parent. The situation most often arises during a divorce or custody battle, but it can happen in intact families as well. After the divorce, her kids cut contact with her, so Sarah has tried to talk to them again and again by sending thousands of emails and thousands of voicemails.
He set out to make me to look like I was crazy or a person that I'm not. It's called strategies, and they...
No, wait a minute. Don't give me a 101 on parental alienation syndrome. I want to know your experience. I want to talk about your situation.
Well, in my situation, I didn't understand. So I went to therapy, and they said, yes, this is what happens. Children's minds can be brainwashed, and I went through therapy to understand what happened to me.
This is when thousands of emails and voicemails happened because she wanted to tell her kids they did nothing wrong and that before the divorce, the family dynamic was perfectly fine. She says she hasn't seen her kids in 5 years and cannot understand why. According to Sarah, she's a wonderful person and a kind mother. The ex-husband politely disagrees.
Pretty good marriage for the first 19 years. Just as we got to the 19th year, the dynamics during the marriage changed. Sarah, I believe, absolutely was abusing both myself and the children. I always thought that Sarah would snap out of it, and eventually I couldn't live with that anymore, so I needed to get divorced. If you don't agree with her, you're bad. It's as simple as that. She was writing emails telling me I was evil, I was a parental alienator.
I emailed my ex-husband, Mark, in a reasonable manner. I was peaceful, just like Gandhi and Martin Luther King talk about.
Kids forwarded an email that their mother sent. She said that Osama bin Laden had been brought to justice, and the very next sentence said that a horrible person in their lives she was hoping to bring to justice as well.
How interesting is that she needed to put big characters in history to prove a point, like linking Osama bin Laden to the kid's dad. That is a manipulation tactic, and if she knew all about parental alienation, she should know not to do that.
I'm hopeful that somehow my ex-wife, Sarah, can figure out that I'm not an alienating parent, and also that, you know, the possibility of her somehow having some relationship with her children.
This is wonderful parenting, at least up until now. Mark, even though Sarah has made his life miserable, wants a potential reconnection with his kids and their mother. But Sarah is so unhinged. Mark had to put a restraining order against her, and Mark's new wife also got one against Sarah. What bothered me is a small comment Dr. Phil made.
Mikkel says she lives in fear of this 100-pound woman.
As if size has anything to do with danger.
Did you call her a high-priced call girl?
I don't recall. I know my therapist, when you say...
no, I'm asking you. Did you call her a high-priced call girl?
I don't recall.
I have a copy of an email here, and the subject line, it's from you, Sarah, to you, Mikkel. And the subject line is, are you any different than a high-priced call girl who knowingly does wrong things and hurts innocent people for money?
Okay, that could have very well been.
Well,
because I was going through therapy, okay.
It's easy to know when a person is lying because they're going to say, I don't remember, instead of, no, I didn't do it.
Let me make it very simple. They lie, and this is what they do.
Not they. I'm asking you, he. You keep talking about they.
Because they all fit a pattern.
No, I don't want to hear about the pattern.
Okay.
I want to know about what's happened in your case.
He he's delusional and he doesn't say it like it is.
This to me shows Sarah knows exactly what happened, and because she cannot blame her ex-husband specifically, and for sure she's not going to expose her faults, she has to talk about parental alienation in general terms. But these are two adults that went into what seems to be a bitter divorce. What about the kids? Of the three of them, only one wanted to face her mother, and the other two refused to talk to her at all. 22-year-old Julie was the only kid willing to be in front of their mother, and she has a good reason for it.
My mom has left me hundreds of voicemails, sent me hundreds of emails.
You can either understand the truth or live a lie.
She'll address them to dear my wonderful but mentally abused children with parental alienation syndrome, telling me I'm sick, like how long am I gonna let my father control me? I need to learn to stand up to my dad, like 5-6 pages long, just ranting. They were just all of her complaints. I truly believe that if she saw all my brothers and I, and we started talking to her, she'd stop her website. Like she wouldn't continue doing it to help millions of children. And I know that for a fact.
Good to meet you. How are you?
I haven't seen you. How are you? Oh my God. You look so different. Oh my God.
Oh god, this was just the worst. But one thing I did notice about her from the beginning is that she may have main character syndrome. If you have seen the episode, then you saw how she tends to upstage the person who's talking, or her behavior is so over the top, all eyes are on her.
She has no accountability for anything she's ever done to hurt me.
What have I done that's hurtful? I have only sent loving emails. What have I done?
You're saying that this parental alienation, like I've had issues with you, and I've told you since they got really bad at 6th grade, and that's
What
why do you think I went to boarding school?
Okay, you went to boarding school because you were bored at the school where you were, and your father and I thought it was
This
great.
would be a
Do you
great time to listen.
Do you not remember, like, before I went to boarding school, we used to fight all the time.
Oh,
See what I mean? It's as if she lives in her little world where there's a script, and if you don't follow it, she disregards you and paints you as the villain. And when pressed on what she did to Julie, she doesn't want to hear it, so she cuts her off mid-sentence. Sarah doesn't want to hear what her daughter has to say about their relationship. Dr. Phil gathered a type of timeline of events. He made two, one according to Sarah and the other one according to Julie. They are both disturbingly different. Let's start with Sarah's version of events.
And these are quotes. I'm sorry that y'all have to kind of turn around a little bit.
You okay?
Yeah.
There's a real big one right here.
Oh,
right
I didn't.
here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you might say this as quirky, but she likes to upstage. And it sort of feels as if she's trying to be liked by acting goofy and quirky.
Kids knit, and you were stay-at-home mom, and you said that you actually got loving emails from your kids at boarding school.
I do.
Sarah blames everybody for what happened to her family. There's a list of people she claimed were paid by her ex-husband to paint her as the villain.
You said Mark brainwashed the kids.
Yes.
You said Mikkel's silence means supportive of parental alienation. You said the kids ganged up on you, that they're little versions of Mark.
That's correct.
You said the judge wanted to shut you up when you were complaining about a therapist and that Mark paid him off.
Yeah.
There's no way she sees this as normal.
What ownership do you have in this problem, and what could you do to inspire an open mind on her part?
What I could do would be to continue to love you.
But it never was good before. Just
It's
because I
that you're
did well
happy
doesn't mean you didn't
and-
hurt me.
Well, then let's go to therapy and talk about it.
We've done
And-
that, and
and
you fire the
I-
therapist when they don't agree with you.
Wait a minute.
Can you imagine the kids seeing their mother treating them horribly, but then feeling some sort of relief by thinking, oh, well, therapy will help them. But then their mother, once the professional starts putting accountability on the table, quits and finds another therapist, and then rinse and repeat. The emotional damage they all suffer because of Sarah's immaturity. Can this be categorized as neglectful?
Okay. All right. Sarah and Mark's kids are alienated from their mother who is to blame is really the question. Now, one of those children is here, Julie.
I had to put this here. The histrionics and cheap manipulation in Julie doesn't budge. Makes me think this is a normal thing to see on her, and we can now understand why the other two sons didn't want to get involved in this circus. Let's go to Julie's point of view.
That she was so stressed out that she was actually cutting between the ages of 8 and 11. You started...
Third grade through fifth grade.
Third grade through fifth grade. You started cutting yourself. That is a high-stress situation, and you were doing it why?
For relief. Well, I didn't know why, but looking back, it was always like when my mom would yell at me for stupid reasons. Like, I felt like I could never do anything right. So, like, I always tried to follow rules, so I couldn't just say, oh, I'm going to behave today and I won't get in trouble. Because no matter what I did, she'd always be yelling at me.
Dr. Phil dropped a nuke on everyone about Julie's self-harming stage, and Sarah's face was showing no emotion, as if the topic was about finances. Mark stands up and hugs his daughter while Sarah is just there.
Julie says mom is telling her that she is fat and antagonize her.
At age 13, you were calling me fat to my face. You'd come up to me, pinch my stomach. You'd give me glares every time I eat. And you'd just be so rude to me about it.
I don't do those
Yes,
things.
you do.
That's not my
Yes, you
pattern of
did.
behavior.
But she...
Oh my god. Sarah, rather than having a relationship with her family again, she prefers to keep lying to herself and others about the events that destroy the marriage and the kids. And again with the, I don't remember. Yes, she does. In the condescending way, she's telling Dr. Phil how that's not her behavior. What a horrible individual.
You really don't want to hear any of this, do you?
I think it needs to be heard with a therapist because this is delusional.
The whole family claims she changes therapists when they don't agree with her. Well, we have an example right here.
Visit you, leave early. You go to Mark's house and throw a rock at the window and spray the house with the hose.
No. You had our attention for hours, stalking us around the house. Why did you need to be in the house? And then you threatened to pee on the doorstep if we don't let you in.
Ay. Well, at the end, everyone was willing to have family therapy. The update? A Facebook post. It's a long one and it's disturbing. Dr. Phil tells Mark and Sarah on the show that aired November 1st, 2013 that parental alienation and false allegations of parental alienation will come back to bite them. So why not have a showdown on a follow-up Dr. Phil show and discuss many facts and schemes which were not known at the time of the show in 2013. Also, the father, Mark, and his high-priced call girl, his mistress, can explain why they lied to Dr. Phil, since they have not tried to help me, Sarah, reunite with my 3 children, as they told him they would. They can also explain how they are committing marriage fraud, since they know Mark and I do not have a legal divorce contract and are therefore still married. However, they pretend to be married and even file fraudulent tax returns. Plus, now my adult daughter can discuss why she has refused, and her father and his mistress, the high-priced call girl, have refused, she repeated again, to help her get therapy for her alleged horrible cutting problem. I call her college to try to get her help. They can also explain why I, Sarah the mother, like Bled the Impaler, was the only one to blame for not knowing about this alleged horrible problem. Not the father, brothers, doctor, physical education teacher, coaches, friends, and teachers. Since living in Southern California, we often wear short-sleeve shirts and sleeveless shirts, where this alleged cutting problem will be obvious to many. She did not believe her daughter. Damn, okay. Is this just a very clear example of the brainwashing which occurred in a parental alienation situation? From now on, I'm going to say parental alienation in a robotic voice, because my God, she repeats it a lot. It is so horrible that they forced a young adult to go on national television and lie. The daughter, not my daughter, the daughter, can also explain why she refused the therapy Dr. Phil so graciously provided, unless I, Sarah the mother, took her website and Facebook page down, which is helpful to many. I, Sarah, along with other law-abiding mothers, have freedom of speech. And why should my daughter try to control what I do? She can choose to not read the information, but why try to control me and deprive others of the information if they want to read it? What was her true motive? To hide and help silence the truth because she is controlled due to
parental alienation.
A daughter estranged, as the show explains. Sarah and Mark's daughter, Julie, 22, at the time of the show, agreed to come on the show and face her mother, but their two sons adamantly refused. Julie said she hasn't spoken with her mother in over 4 years. In a previous interview, Julie says her mother has left her hundreds of voicemails and emails. She will address them to my dear, wonderful, but mentally abused children with
Parental alienation syndrome.
telling me I'm sick, like how long am I going to let my father control me? I need to learn to stand up to my dad, like 5-6 pages long, just ranting, just all of her complaints. Julie says, I've just completely ignored her. Why not have my two adult sons come on the show too and explain what I, Sarah, their mother, has done that is so terrible that they have chosen to alienate me from their lives for over 8 years now? Did they just forget all the wonderful values, habits, and lessons I taught them and just believe their lies? Is this a part of
Parental alienation.
even for young adults? Mark started making me out to be a bad person, that I was crazy, that I was irrational. Sarah started more and more to get angry about things that made no sense, creating and perpetrating
Parental alienation.
as many court documents prove. He thinks this makes no sense for a mother to get angry, especially when not understanding this
Parental alienation.
and not understanding what is going on. This is abuse, terror, torture, and oppression, as any reasonable person knows and experts have proven. In a previous interview, Mark's wife, no, his mistress, because we are not legally divorced, Michelle, says she felt threatened by Sarah. She says after receiving ugly emails from Sarah from several months, she also got a restraining order against her. When someone is that unstable and that angry, you just don't know what they are capable of, she says. Really? Not what the facts show? I don't know what that means. She is living off my money while perpetuating
Parental alienation.
filing false tax returns and stealing my money and other assets so she can get new cars, plastic surgery, like breast implants, etc. Mark and Michael said they haven't had any contact with Sarah in a year, but they have lifted their restraining orders in order to face her with Dr. Phil. This is very confusing, is it? Mark tells Dr. Phil that he has always encouraged a relationship between Sarah and their children, but says Sarah needs to make some changes before it happened. Really, not what the facts show. What does he mean? Sarah tells Dr. Phil that it's been over 5 years, now 8, since she's seen her children. I want to move forward with my children, she says. I'm a wonderful person and I'm a kind mother. Sarah denies sending ugly emails to Michelle and says their restraining order against her are another example of how they are trying to alienate her from her children. Think they will agree to have a follow-up on Dr. Phil? Think they will want the truth with all the documents to come out on national television, since at the time of the first show, many facts were not known and they tried to bully and harass me, Sarah, as they hid the facts and lied. I think this will make a great Dr. Phil show and help millions suffering from
Parental alienation.
As always, none of this is legal or any other advice. It is based upon my knowledge and experiences, including facts about those in the establishment. By Sarah Hassman,
Parental alienation.
Solutions founder. There was supposed to be a follow-up show, but with this statement made by Sarah, I can see what went wrong. As of today, she lives in Israel and seeking citizenship. Sarah is the perfect example of the phrase, you truly cannot change what you cannot see. Before you leave, give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, a thumbs down if you didn't, and tell me why in the comments. And now that you're here, subscribe to the channel. You are more than welcome here. Thank you for watching.